welcome back to our show where we come on here every single week and we talk about real estate. Woo-hoo. So today we have 5 questions that we are going to be answering. Feel free to send us your questions and we will cover them in a future show. All right, so question number 1. How do you know if a lead is wasting your time?
Man, for me, just kind of being around and talking with so many people, I ask a lot of questions, and I never discount anybody or as a bad lead or a good lead initially. I'll usually waste my time on everybody, and I don't say that in a rude way, waste my time, but like I have to feel it out, right? And I usually want to be a face-to-face because that's my way in, that's my door opener, and I got to ask the right questions, though, is what I'm trying to say. To know if they're a buyer, hey, are you pre-qualified? Are you working with anybody? Maybe I'm a service to get you pre-qualified, get you to help so I can represent you in any type of sell. So what I have to say is the more transactions you do and the more clients you have, the better you're going to get by feeling it out and putting feelers out there and seeing if the client is actually going to produce anything for your time, or you can still work with them but delegate less time for them.
Yes. So I agree. I think it's something that you learn over time, how to kind of tell. I don't really like the phrase wasting your time because I never want my clients or leads or whatever to feel, I don't even really like calling people leads because like they're a person with a home buying need. And I never want them to feel like they're wasting my time, asking me questions or whatever it is, even if they're not quite ready to buy yet, because to me, it's not a waste of time. I do this for a reason. I love what I do. And my job is to be an advisor. And if I just do that, then it's all going to come full circle. So I don't like the term wasting time, but I do know what you mean. So I would say 3 things. One is if they're someone obvious, this is kind of obvious, it should be, but if a buyer is, not pre-qualified, or if they're calling other agents to show them houses, then like, of course, don't work with them. They're wasting your time if they're not loyal to you. Secondly, knowing their motivation. Why are they buying, and thirdly, what's their timeline? Because most often when I get a call from a client, like a relocation client or someone moving here, usually it's like, I got to be here by this date. This is when my new job starts, or I'm about to sell my home I have here to buy. So it's that kind of situation. If a buyer's in a position where they do not have to buy, it could take years. Their motivation and timeline, knowing that up front is huge.
Yeah. And I mean, in the past, so I've also worked with sellers that I've taken listings and then they're not actually serious about selling. Totally. And that's why I've just learned in my listing consultations and just talking with sellers is, hey, how motivated are you? And it's a simple like eye-to-eye question when I ask that, because us as brokers, realtors, we are investing our time, our money, our energy, and our lives into getting these homes sold to ultimately make a commission once it does sell at escrow.
Right.
So I always end, or usually within my listing presentation at some point, we get serious. And I'm just like, are you motivated? Or how motivated are you guys to sell? Because here's what I'm going to be doing for you. Are you going to be doing anything in return? Because what I don't want to have happen like has happened in the past is you end up listing a home, you invest in marketing, you get advertisement going, and you're weeks in, no offer currently, or even you've had offers, and then the seller ends up pulling the listing and just withdrawing or terminating because they don't want to sell anymore. Now, there's circumstances, I get it. You got to terminate if you got to stay where you're at. But right. I've just learned over the years of just representing people, are you motivated? That's a key question to ask in almost every listing presentation, as well as buyer consultations, is how motivated are you?
So the next question is, do you have any tips for getting your buyer's offers accepted? I'm new. I would say the biggest thing is set realistic expectations up front and make sure they're really educated about the process and what the market's doing. I know back in 2020 and 2021, and even the beginning of this year when things were still so crazy competitive, where, every offer we were writing was $50,000 over asking and waiving appraisal and all of that. Every agent seemed like they were struggling getting buyers' offers accepted and hated that time because it was so competitive. But I had a wonderful time with buyers, to be completely honest, during that time. And I think the reason is because most of my buyers came from online video. So they'd already watched all my videos about what the market was doing, the buying process. Like they were educated up front. And so I didn't have to
That's a great
deal
point.
with, and yes, but it's true. I didn't have to deal with them not understanding. Like pretty much everyone I was working with knew, because I had educated them up front in my videos. They knew, like, this is what the market's doing. If we want to have even a shot, this is what we're going to have to do. And so I think just educating them up front on what the market's doing, whatever that is, because obviously things have changed a little bit now and it's not quite the same. But that's huge.
Well, that's what's been really cool.
Setting expectations beforehand.
And that's what's been really cool, though, about your business model and what you've introduced to us over the last few years, being in this different business. Because, I mean, we are not the old school agent anymore, doing everything hand paper. Everything's electronical. Everything's digital. And people are able to meet us without actually meeting us.
Yes.
And that's what's been super, super fun about this business, is the training and consultations that you've been able to provide and have for people as a free resource. Service. I'm really big about the service industry. To get the job done and have clients come in with a realistic expectation, because that has been nice.
Yes. And there are times when sometimes if it's a super crazy market like that, sometimes it'll take, writing an offer or two, hopefully not too many more, before the client's finally like, okay, I get it. We need to up the ante a little bit. Like this is what we're going to have to do to get something accepted. Sometimes that does happen. So don't, stay with them. You got to do what's best for them, because at the end of the day, you are working for them. So that's what I would say.
I have had that happen where I've kind of made deals with the client. I said, okay, watch, we'll write your offer. Okay. Your way. We'll do this. But if this isn't going to continue to work out, we have to at least take some of my advice to get under contract or find you the right home that you want to get us under contract, because ultimately that's why I'm here. I need to represent you and get you under contract to get you a home where you want to move in and be happy with your family.
Right.
So them taking your advice really is something. And some clients, they can't handle that, and that might just tell you they might not be the right client for you as well.
Right. They might be not.
It comes back to that first question we just answered.
Yeah.
When do you know when to let go of a lead?
Yeah.
Well, that could be the time, just because you guys aren't vibing, you're not clicking, and you're going to get a bad review, almost guaranteed, if your client's unsatisfied with their purchase.
Next question is, how do you know when it's time for your spouse to quit their job and help run your business? That's such a huge decision.
Massive decision.
I feel like that's something
we had to go through that.
You can't really answer. Yeah, we went through that, but I feel like that's something you can't really answer for someone else.
But know what's weird?
What?
Like during the pregnancy and even after pregnancy, like Astrid's first year of birth, our daughter, we had the best year gross mounts. Gross commissions?
Yes.
What was that?
Whatever.
GM. Wow.
GCI.
I know. Yeah, gross commission incomes. That was our best year at 2020.
And we didn't feel like we were working. Like we literally didn't. We went on walks together like
now this year we are above that. But
yeah, but we really, it was very great. Yeah.
It was weird though, because
I don't know how it happened.
Because Mariah, she's at home with the baby.
Yeah.
Most of the time, as a newborn.
And I was working with some clients still, but I wasn't on appointments. We just did things differently, and
it was just strange though.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those like.
Yeah. I don't know how
everything aligned.
Yeah.
Some things double-ended. Some things didn't work out.
Yeah.
And we just continued to get listing after listing after listing.
Yeah.
And that was a huge thing though, because sometimes you can't predict the future within real estate and your work, because sales it's a weird concept. You don't know who's going to walk through the door or who you're going to call and they say yes to an interview. So you got to keep trying, because your day, your month, your year can get turned around in a 10-minute phone call.
Right. I think for us to answer the question, knowing when it's time for your spouse to quit their job and run their business, I remember there was a time when I was just feeling overwhelmed with a lot of clients, and it just kind of got to be too much. And I was like, should I hire an assistant? What should I do? And then also I remember thinking, or for us, it kind of got to the point where when I was making more than you, that's when it was like, okay, it's time to join me. Or that amount. That's when it was.
When I first got in the business,
when we knew. Yeah, and then
100%.
Yeah, so that for us was it. But everyone's picture of that when you're ready is going to look different.
You brought up another good point.
What?
When's enough enough?
What do you mean?
You know, like when's enough client or when's enough listings enough to where, because I've been there. Every broker for the most part should have been there and can be there. When's enough escrows like too overwhelming for you?
Well,
or when's enough leads too overwhelming for you?
I think it depends on where you're at in the season of your life. Because there's times even now as a mom where I'm like, okay, I feel like I could take on more. And then there's other times when I scale back, you know, just because of how I feel.
But we've talked
then
about
also, it just depends on how you're doing things. What some clients are more needy than others, like the type of clients you're working with. Like it depends on so many different factors and how you're running things.
Us in real estate, we can always refer it out.
Yes.
You know, that you have offices that you work within, right? There's other brokers in your office and you can get a 25, 30% referral fee.
Yeah.
And it's a free lead. There you go.
Definitely.
I don't have time for this, but you still make a paycheck at the end of the day.
Definitely.
That's the cool part.
Right. I love that. Okay. So next question is, do you ever work with investor clients? I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
I personally haven't worked with all that many investors. I've worked with probably 3 actual investors, because you can get people saying they're an investor and all that. But, you know, the ones that actually acquire real property, like 10 plus rentals and that type of thing, I've worked with probably 3 total. And I've done it in the manufactured home industry. I've done it with residential.
Like flippers?
Yep. I've done it with residential rentals. And then there was just older individuals that have real estate that they need to unload. And whether it's 1 or 2 a year because of tax incomes, that's what they look at. So I really haven't dealt with all that many. But what I do know is when you are working with investor type people, there are different... That's beautiful.
Drinks, I know.
She loves hitting things with her drinks. But there are different types of method into pricing and knowing whether it's a good investment versus bad investment if you're working with a purchaser. And also there are curveball questions they like to ask you. And if you can get familiar with a CPA or an accountant to maybe answer their question to, I would recommend getting in contact with one, or even use your personal CPA to answer questions they might have before you give them hogwash answers.
Right.
Because they know their numbers and stuff like that. They're just using you as a resource to guide them where they need to be.
Right. I've worked with seller investors before, and that I've always had great experiences with that. I listed a fourplex from a repeat investor client, and on the selling side, that was all great. As far as like buying with investors go, maybe this will change, but it's not really my thing. I've had a couple of bad experiences when I was newer with investors. One was...
Oh, you got hit into a scam.
Well, yes. One was doing illegal things. They were scamming people, and I was roped into... I didn't even know because I was
like what I feel like investors do.
Don't
they
say
think
that.
outside of the box sometimes.
No. This was...
It might not be illegal in their minds.
No, this was different, Spencer. Don't say that. That is not what... No. Okay. So these people, though, they were scamming people. And as soon as I found out, I literally cut off all contact with them and just stopped answering their calls and everything. But I did quite a bit of work for them. And then another one was this guy that was buying. It was like his girlfriend's money, but he was the guy that was the investor. And I cannot tell you how many properties we had under contract. And it got to a point where I was like, he's not going to buy, is he? Every house we got under contract and he'd back out. And it got to a point where I kind of knew when I write an offer, like it's not going to go through because he just kept writing those offers and not backing out.
What's the point?
No, but it was a waste of time. And obviously not all investors are like that. I was young and naive and got used by a couple of investors and had bad experiences. But I don't have a lot of experience. Like that's just not our niche, not our thing. As far like sellers, like I said, I've worked with seller investors and it's been great, but buyers haven't had the best experiences.
You have had some weird conversations, I would say, with investor type clients.
Yes.
It's
okay.
Some stuff you need advice on.
Okay. Was there a thought, or was there ever a point when you thought about giving up on real estate?
Not like quit the business, give up, but like, hey, I'm taking the day off, or I've literally taken the week off. I'm like, it was my motivation. So a lot of it was like my mindset and hurt, or maybe I felt like I had so many escrows. I was on top of the world at that time, and what I can tell you is your pipeline does run out. and you learn from those experiences because you also learn you have bills to pay and a company to feed and keep the payroll rolling. So everything's different, but I would say I haven't wanted to ever quit the business, but I have definitely become unmotivated at times. And you got to figure out how to get yourself back in the market. That's what I got to say. Get out of your seat, get out of the recliner, start waking up maybe at 8 a.m. rather than 10 a.m. You know, this business is very easy to become so unproductive that you don't get paid in like 4 months. You know, it's so easy to fall into that trap.
Well, if you don't have self-discipline, because you're your own boss, so you need that to be able to be your own boss.
Yeah. But that's as close as I've been, you know, to quitting the business. I haven't really wanted to quit. Tell a story about when you wanted to quit the business.
A story of when I wanted to quit. Okay.
I can remember one from like 2 months ago. This is recent.
Wait, what happened 2 months ago?
You got trashed.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
She got trashed.
I don't want to talk about that. No, I haven't. I didn't want to quit.
But she didn't even do anything wrong.
I didn't want to quit. I wanted to quit when we were about to get engaged.
I think
I was like 19 and I'd been in the business for like a year, and I was really good at getting clients, but I wasn't good at managing all of them. All of a sudden you go from being new to all of a sudden I had like a bunch of escrows and listings and all of this, and I just didn't know how to manage it and handle everyone, and multiple people were mad at me, and I was super, super stressed out. Do you remember that? When we were like about to leave for Leavenworth, I was literally, I was like crying, and I just wanted to quit.
Well, even when we first got married, you were kind of that way too, though.
There were times when it was really, really hard, just learning how to manage everything.
Yeah. The management side, because that's just a completely different personality too.
Right.
You know, the management, the actual organization of a business, because real estate, you can treat as a part-time job, of course, but if this is your life and this is what you do to create income and wealth, and you want to be successful at something, you just got to learn and just grow tools and put them in your toolbox and use them when you need them. So that's the cool part about getting advice and building a team or working or adding an assistant, for instance. You know, there's always options that you can make assets to your business.
Right.
Even though you're paying for them.
I remember when I was like on that day when we were about to leave to Leavenworth, and I was like legitimately having a panic attack because I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is too stressful. Multiple people were mad at me, and I was just in a room by myself, and I guess we had Chinese food or something. Did I ever tell you about this?
I don't know.
I had a fortune cookie.
Know.
Okay.
What does fortune say, Mariah?
And
she took it to heart. She had to have.
No,
say quit?
No. Okay. I prayed and I was like, Holy Spirit, speak to me through this fortune cookie. And I've never, I'm not some crazy person that does that when I open a fortune cookie. Like, I've never said that before.
I feel like you do it every time.
I've never met anyone that did that. Like, that was just a weird random thing. I opened the fortune cookie and it said, you will have a successful real estate career.
Wait, it said real estate?
It said, yes. It said that word for word.
Did you frame that cookie?
No, but it was very encouraging because I was legitimately like thinking about, I was literally just like so discouraged wanting to quit real estate and didn't know what to do. And besides that, I mean, that was really the only time when I was like, I really
That's actually unbelievable.
Quit. Yeah.
That could have just saved your life.
I'm not making that up.
No, I understand. No, I remember actually.
I'm not crazy.
I'm really bad at those type of memories, but I think I do actually remember that.
Yeah.
And then look at the Leavenworth trip. It turns out to be the best trip of your life. You got engaged to me.
Yes.
Wink, wink.
Okay, so that's wrapping it up.
Man.
That's our last question. You have anything else?
You know, I just want to figure out what the right thing to do is in a real estate market like this one, you know, because the media is just projectiling so much vomit onto people, brokers, lenders, and nobody really knows what's going on. I mean, truthfully, whether it's the government politically or just us as a nation. I mean, gas prices, for instance, they're going down, but are they going to go back up? Is employment going to go up or down? Like, what's the pay rates? And it's concerning, but ultimately I want to encourage like you guys and myself. This is a message for myself, by the way, to try and just stay in your lane, you know, like see what you're good at. Like we've mentioned in previous videos, find your goals for one, And then how are you going to obtain those goals? Through your 2 to 3 methods of prospecting to get you where you need to be and what you want. And just be so consistent you don't get off the track and just stay in your lane. That's where it's at. Because I used to listen to like the media, and I'd have a news outlet like every morning in my car. And now I've been working a little bit more from home and just staying more present in our sphere, in my little box. And it's actually been good for me because I'm not really worried about what all the other junk is, you know, and through conversation, I just get to share my experiences and what's being current and present in the real estate market that I'm in and seeing.
Right.
Because we actually can back that up. We do have the transactions to do that. If you don't have the transactions, then yes, go to some classes, be present in your office, and just hear the verbiage and terms and words that's been being presented around you. Because ultimately, that's what we did, or I did, when I first got in the business, is I was just always constantly around real estate talk because I didn't know any better. And if you have nothing else going on, yeah, you better just go to the office and be around real estate and other professionals.
Right.
But that's, I guess, my advice that for myself and for you guys is stay in your lane and just make some escrows. Seriously, if it's 7 a year, if it's 12 a year, if it's 50 a year, whatever works for you is ultimately going to produce fruits and make you live and be happy. Because we are statistically, correct me if I'm wrong, the happiest position that you can work. Is that
you are not wrong?
There we go.
We are. Oh my goodness.
We're in the happiest profession.
You are not wrong.
The people
about
in
that.
real estate
I'm so
are the
happy.
happiest people.
Yeah, I'm so happy. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. If you're happy as a realtor, leave a comment below.
I love having fun with you guys.
Anyway.
Thanks for hanging out with us for whatever, 20, 40 minutes. Some videos vary, but this is a completely unedited video. We just want to be an influence on other brokers, but also you guys influence us. So please leave the comments below. We're hitting 100-degree days here at the end of July here in Salem, Oregon.
Yeah.
Tell me what your weather's like, and maybe I'll come to your state for vacation.
Yeah, and if you listened all the way through, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because we come on here every week giving real estate tips, and we'll see you guys next week.